Trump halts his Cadillac One motorcade for a homeless girl, and what he does next will leave the world in awe. That afternoon, the scorching sun beat down on the lively streets. The blaring of car horns and the hurried shuffle of footsteps merged into the relentless rhythm of city life. At the front of a long motorcade, Donald Trump's Cadillac One cruised through the packed avenues, a symbol of power moving beneath the watchful eyes of onlookers. Inside the lead vehicle, Trump listened intently as one of his advisors delivered a report, but something outside abruptly caught his attention. Amid the flowing crowd on the sidewalk, a frail young girl, no older than 10, stood motionless. In her small hands, she clutched a battered piece of cardboard with hastily scribbled, yet unmistakable words. "Please help. My family desperately needs a miracle." Trump leaned toward the window, his brow knitting together. She wore a worn-out gray hoodie, her tangled hair falling messily over a face smudged with dirt. Her striking blue eyes scanned the passing cars, searching for a glimpse of kindness in a world that had seemingly turned its back on her. "Stop the car," Trump ordered, his tone firm yet composed. The entire motorcade came to an abrupt halt, the trailing vehicles lurching slightly from the sudden stop. Inside, advisors and security personnel exchanged uncertain glances, caught off guard by the decision. "Sir, this area isn't secure. We should keep moving," one bodyguard cautioned. "No," Trump interjected, his eyes never leaving the small figure outside. "I want to hear that girl's story." No one dared to argue. Trump pushed the car door open and stepped out, immediately capturing the attention of those nearby. Some bystanders quickly recognized him and reached for their phones, eager to record the moment. The atmosphere seemed to shift as he strode toward the little girl. Lowering himself slightly to meet her eyes, Trump's expression softened. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked, his voice both commanding and unexpectedly gentle. The girl flinched, her eyes flickering anxiously toward the security guard standing nearby. My name is Lily," she answered, gripping the cardboard sign tightly as if it could shield her. "Lily, why are you standing here?" Trump asked, lowering his voice in an attempt to put her at ease. Lily bit her lip, hesitation flashing in her gaze before she gathered the courage to respond. I just need someone to help my mom. She's really sick. We don't have a home. My dad died in the war." Her voice wavered, but in her wide eyes there was an unshaken resolve. Trump stood still for a moment, his expression softening, yet filled with contemplation. "Where did your father serve?" he asked gently. "In the Middle East, sir," Lily replied, her voice breaking as tears welled up in her eyes. "He was a soldier, a hero, but when he died, we lost everything." Her words hit Trump like a punch to the chest. He took a deep breath, straightened up, and turned to his team, his face set with determination. "Get the car ready. I want to see where Lily lives," he stated firmly, his tone leaving no room for argument. "Sir, this is highly dangerous," one of the bodyguards stepped forward, his voice low but urgent. "We cannot guarantee your safety in that area." Trump turned to him, his gaze sharp and unwavering. "If a child can stand on a busy street to save her mother, then I can take the risk of going where they live. If you're afraid, you're free to leave." A heavy silence fell over the team. No one dared to object. Trump placed a steady yet reassuring hand on Lily's shoulder, his expression resolute. "Lead the way, Lily. Let's go see your mother." The motorcade rolled forward, slowly navigating through narrowing streets. The landscape changed. Towering skyscrapers and luxury storefronts faded into a scene of dilapidated buildings, sagging rooftops, and alleyways cluttered with debris. Inside the car, Lily sat quietly, her small hands resting nervously in her lap. Her eyes held a blend of hope and uncertainty, but the firm set of her lips revealed her determination. She wasn't about to let this opportunity slip away. "We're almost there, Mr. Trump," she murmured, gesturing toward a small shelter nestled deep within the shadowy alleyway. Trump gave a slow nod, his forehead creasing slightly. Now he understood. This wasn't just a visit to an impoverished neighborhood. It was the start of something much bigger, a journey that would not only change Lily's life, but also the lives of many others like her. The Cadillac One rolled to a stop before a crumbling house at the end of the alley, littered with trash. The door, a patchwork of old wooden planks, barely held together, while the rusted tin roof was riddled with holes. Nearby, a group of children, their faces smudged with dirt, stood in silence, their wide eyes fixed on the sleek motorcade. As Trump stepped out, he took in the scene around him, his gaze sweeping over the dire surroundings. Immediately, his security team moved into formation, their eyes scanning every darkened corner. Lily, her small hand clutching his tightly, led him to the entrance and carefully pushed open the decaying door. "My mom is inside," she whispered, her voice unsteady. Trump stepped in, his eyes landing on a frail woman lying in the corner on a narrow bed. As strangers filled the tiny space, she struggled to sit up, her wide eyes filled with a mix of shock and unease. "Mom, this is Mr. Trump," Lily said, her voice soft but laced with hope. "He's here to help us." The woman's parched lips quivered as she looked up. "Mr. Trump," she murmured, her voice shaky, as if unsure whether she could trust what she was seeing. Trump knelt beside her, extending his hand. "You don't have to say anything," he assured her, his voice steady and kind. "Lily did something incredible bringing me here. I'd like to hear your family story." The woman clung to her daughter's delicate hand, as if drawing strength from her touch. "My husband Daniel was a soldier," she began, her voice frail but unwavering. "He sacrificed his life in the Middle East, leaving Lily and me behind. After he passed, I fell ill. I could no longer work, and everything crumbled. We lost our home, our possessions, and now, this is all we have left." Trump surveyed the dimly lit room. No natural light filtered through the patched-up walls. In one corner, a broken chair stood unsteadily, one of its legs awkwardly propped up, while a stack of old, worn boxes served as makeshift storage for clothes. "My mom has been sick for a long time," Lily murmured, her voice barely audible. "I've tried to help her, but I don't know what else to do. I don't want her to die." Lily's words sent a chill through Trump, freezing him in place. His gaze swept across the anxious faces in the room. Then, turning to his team, he spoke with firm urgency. "I need a full report on this family situation immediately. Her mother's health must be assessed tonight," he ordered, his tone allowing no room for argument. One of his advisors stepped forward and murmured, "Sir, this is a dangerous area. We shouldn't remain here too long. It would be safer to let specialized organizations handle this." Trump turned sharply, his expression unyielding. "She doesn't need empty promises. She needs action. I'm not leaving until I'm certain that both of them will receive the help they need." He knelt beside Lily, placing a steady, reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Lily, what you've done is incredibly courageous. You've been fighting for your mother. Now it's my turn to fight for both of you." The woman on the bed broke down, tears spilling down her sunken cheeks. "Mr. Trump, thank you. I don't even know what to say." Trump met her eyes with a steady, compassionate gaze. "You don't have to say anything. Your husband gave his life for this country. The least we can do is stand by you now." Looking at her directly, his voice was quiet but unwavering. "You don't need to thank me. Your husband gave his life in service to this country. That is a sacrifice we will never forget, and a debt we owe your family." As he stepped out of the small, deteriorating house, he found a crowd had gathered outside. Their eyes, filled with a mix of curiosity and hesitant hope, followed his every move. Trump paused, glancing first at Lily and her mother, then at the onlookers scattered throughout the narrow alley. "This isn't just one family's struggle," he declared, his voice strong and unwavering. "This is the reality of thousands who have been left behind. We are going to change that, starting today." A ripple of applause moved through the crowd, hesitant at first but quickly gaining momentum. Tired, worn-out faces started to show the faintest glimmer of hope. Standing beside her mother, Lily clutched her hand tightly, her wide eyes shimmering with a renewed sense of belief. Trump turned to his advisors, his tone resolute. "This journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning." With those words, he didn't just restore hope to Lily and her mother. He ignited a spark of possibility for the entire struggling community. As Trump left the crumbling home, the mood in the alley had shifted completely. More residents from the nearby slums had gathered, their expressions softening from doubt to cautious optimism. Some remained at a distance, observing silently, while children huddled together, staring up at him with awe. For a brief moment, Trump stood still, taking in the sight before him. The rundown houses, the narrow alleys filled with debris, the faces lined with exhaustion and hardship. An advisor stepped forward, his voice urgent. "Sir, we need to leave now. This area isn't safe, and your presence is attracting too much attention. If something happens, we won't be able to react in time." Trump turned to him, his eyes steady and unwavering. "I'm not here to attract attention. I'm here to make a difference." "Sir, you can manage this from your office," the advisor urged, his tone firm. "You can give orders, and we'll have support teams handle the situation." Trump shook his head, interrupting. "If I walk away now, it sends the wrong message. That I'm not willing to face the reality of what's happening here. And let's be clear, I'm not here for convenience." A security agent stepped forward, speaking quietly. "Sir, a group of young men is gathering at the end of the alley. We're unsure of their intentions, but the situation could escalate." Trump's eyes flicked toward the alley, where a handful of figures stood, their expressions unreadable. He exhaled slowly before turning back to his team. "Do your job and secure the area, but I won't leave just because there's risk." He crouched beside Lily, resting a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Take me to your neighbors, Lily. I need to see this for myself." Lily hesitated briefly, then gave a small nod. "I'll show you," she murmured. With Trump, Lily, and several security personnel moving cautiously through the tight alleyways, curious eyes peered from doorways and windows, a mixture of skepticism and surprise in their gazes. A middle-aged man with a deeply lined face stood by the entrance of a rundown house. As Trump neared, the man stepped forward. "Mr. Trump, I can't believe you actually came," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "But since you're here, you need to understand. We're not just poor. We've been abandoned. No one sees us. No one cares." Trump halted, holding the man's gaze as he listened. The man went on, frustration and sorrow intertwining in his words. "Many of us are the families of those who served this country. But after their sacrifices, we've been left behind. My son had to drop out of school. We scrape by on whatever we can find, but it's never enough." Trump surveyed the crumbling houses and weary faces surrounding him. Turning to one of his advisors, his voice sliced through the heavy silence like a blade. "I need a full report on every family in this area, their struggles, their needs, and I want it on my desk by tomorrow morning." "Sir," the advisor hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "We could coordinate this with local agencies." Trump cut him off, his tone unwavering. "They've waited long enough. We won't waste another second. If Lily can stand on a street corner asking for help, then we have no excuse to delay action any further." As Trump made his way back to the front of Lily's home, the crowd had swelled. He climbed the worn, creaking steps and turned to face the many tired, expectant faces watching him in silence. No family, especially one that has sacrificed everything for this country, should be forced to live like this, Trump declared, his voice carrying across the alley. "You have been overlooked for too long, but that changes today. I promise not only to help Lily and her mother, but to help each and every one of you. Together we will make a difference." A few hesitant claps broke the stillness, slowly building into a growing wave of applause. Tears shimmered in the eyes of some in the crowd, and for the first time in years, a spark of hope flickered on their faces. Trump turned back to Lily, kneeling slightly as he gently took her hand. His voice was softer now, but filled with determination. "Thank you for having the courage to speak up. You didn't just help your mother today, you helped this entire community. I give you my word, I won't let you down." As Trump stepped into Cadillac 1, he paused before shutting the door, turning to his lead security officer. "From this moment forward, this is my top priority. I want every available resource mobilized at once. And remember, I will personally oversee every stage of this plan." The motorcade slowly pulled away, rolling out of the slum. Behind him, the crowd remained, their eyes fixed on the man who had just sparked a new sense of hope within their community. But for Trump, this was nowhere near the conclusion. It was merely the start of a much larger mission. As Trump emerged from the rundown house, the energy outside had completely shifted. The once hesitant group of slum dwellers had grown in number, their cautious and curious gazes now carrying a subtle trace of optimism. Some lingered at a distance, quietly observing, while children huddled together, their wide eyes filled with wonder as they watched him. Trump paused briefly, his eyes sweeping over the dire surroundings. Dilapidated homes, alleyways strewn with debris, and faces etched with fatigue and struggle. An advisor rushed up to him, speaking with urgency. "Sir, we need to leave immediately. This area is dangerous and your presence is drawing too much attention. If something happens, we won't be able to react in time." Trump turned to him, his expression firm and unwavering. "I'm not here for attention. I'm here to make a difference." "Sir, you can take action from your office," the advisor insisted, his voice steady but respectful. "You can issue orders, and we'll deploy the necessary support teams to handle this." Trump shook his head, interrupting him mid-sentence. "If I walk away now, it sends the message that I'm unwilling to face the reality of what's happening here. And remember, I'm not doing this for convenience." Another security officer approached, his voice hushed. "Sir, there's a group of young men gathering at the alley's end. We don't know their intentions, but the situation could escalate." Trump glanced toward the alley where a small cluster of figures stood motionless, their expressions unreadable. Taking a deep breath, he turned back to his team with determination. "Do your job and keep everyone safe," he said firmly. "But I'm not leaving just because of fear." Trump turned to Lily, resting a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Take me to your neighbors. I need to understand what's really happening here." Lily hesitated briefly before giving a small nod. "I'll show you," she said quietly. With Lily leading the way, Trump and a few security guards moved carefully through the narrow alley. People watched them with wary eyes, their expressions a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Near the entrance of a rundown house, a middle-aged man with a weary face and tired posture stood silently. As Trump approached, the man took a step forward. "Mr. Trump, I can't believe you actually came," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "But if you're here, you need to understand. We're not just struggling. We've been forgotten. No one cares about this neighborhood." Trump stopped, his gaze steady as he listened intently. The man went on, his words laced with frustration and sorrow. "Many of us here are families of those who served this country, but no one sees the pain we've been left to endure after they're gone. My son had to drop out of school. We survive on whatever scraps we can find, but it's never enough." Trump took in the scene around him. Crumbling houses, children playing in the dirt, adults standing in doorways, their eyes filled with exhaustion. Turning to one of his advisors, his voice was firm and unwavering. "I want a detailed report on every family here, their struggles, their needs, and I want it on my desk by tomorrow morning." "Sir," the advisor responded cautiously, "we could start by working with local organizations." Trump cut him off, his tone decisive. "They've waited long enough. We're not delaying this any further. If Lily can stand on a street corner asking for help, then we have no excuse to wait." When they returned to Lily's house, Trump turned to face the growing crowd. He stepped onto the creaking wooden steps, his gaze meeting the many eyes locked on him. The once distant onlookers now moved in closer, their faces reflecting a mixture of curiosity and fragile hope. "No family, especially the family of someone who has sacrificed for this country, should ever have to live under these conditions," Trump declared firmly, his voice resonating through the silence. "You have been overlooked for too long, but that changes today. I give you my word. I will not only support Lily and her mother, but every single person here. Together, we will transform these circumstances." Scattered applause broke out in the crowd, gradually building in strength. Tears welled up in a few eyes, and for the first time in years, a glimmer of hope began to emerge. Trump turned his attention back to Lily, gently taking her small hand in his own. His voice softened, but his determination remained unwavering. "Thank you for having the courage to speak up. You didn't just help your mother, you helped this entire community. I promise you, I will not fail you." As Trump stepped into the waiting Cadillac One, he hesitated before closing the door. Looking toward his chief of security, he issued a clear directive. "From this moment on, this is my highest priority. I want every available resource deployed immediately. And understand this, I will personally oversee every aspect of this effort." The car pulled away slowly, leaving the impoverished neighborhood behind. The crowd remained, their eyes fixed on the man who had just sparked a newfound hope for them all. But for Trump, this was just the start. This was the launch of something far greater. Within weeks, Lily's story and Trump's commitment had spread like wildfire across the United States. A video capturing the moment he stopped his motorcade to speak with the young girl went viral on social media. The image of him holding Lily's hand as they walked into the slum, fearless in the face of any potential danger, deeply resonated with people from all walks of life. On Twitter, the hashtag #Hope for Heroes began trending nationwide. Thousands shared Lily's story, along with their own personal struggles and the hardships faced by the families of veterans across the country. One particularly striking comment read, "Lily isn't just a courageous young girl. She has become a symbol for all the families who have been overlooked for too long. We can't ignore them any longer." But the momentum didn't end with Lily's story. The Hope for Heroes initiative, launched by Trump, rapidly grew into a nationwide movement. Major corporations, including Amazon, Walmart, and Apple, pledged multi-million-dollar donations to aid the cause. Charity partnerships. Prominent nonprofit organizations across the country joined forces to implement direct support programs for veteran families in need. Personal contributions. A school teacher in Texas chose to donate her entire bonus to help a struggling veteran family get back on their feet. Fueled by Lily's bravery and Trump's commitment, the movement had become a lifeline for thousands of families who had long been forgotten. Student-led efforts. High school students in California organized a donation drive to collect essential school supplies for the children of veterans. Community-driven impact. A retired veteran in Ohio volunteered his time to repair homes for struggling families in his town. "Lily's story moved me," one volunteer shared in a televised interview. "No matter how small, I want to do my part to make a difference." Lily and her mother soon found themselves in the national spotlight. They were invited to appear on major television programs, where they shared their journey and expressed gratitude to those who stepped forward to help. In one particularly emotional interview, Lily's mother reflected, "I used to think a normal life was out of reach, but now I see hope, not just for me and my daughter, but for so many other families like ours." To commemorate the movement's impact, Trump hosted a special event at the White House, honoring veteran families and recognizing the individuals and organizations that contributed to the Hope for Heroes campaign. This gathering represented more than just a moment of recognition. It was a promise of a brighter future for families across the country. Addressing the large crowd, Trump spoke with determination. "Lily is an incredibly brave young girl, and her story has reshaped our understanding of our duty to those who have sacrificed for this nation. Today, we not only honor the families of veterans, but we also pledge to make sure they never have to endure their struggles alone again." Trump urged the community to continue offering their support. No matter how small, each of us has the ability to make a difference for those in need. Together, let's create an America where no one is overlooked. During the ceremony, Lily and her mother were invited to join him on stage. Wearing a simple white dress, Lily hesitated briefly before speaking. Her voice was soft, yet filled with determination. "I never imagined that a small cardboard sign could make a difference. All I wanted was to save my mom. But now I understand that when we find the courage to speak up, we can change the world. Thank you, Mr. Trump, and thank you to everyone who helped my family and so many others." The crowd responded with a deafening round of applause, the sound reverberating throughout the hall. Many in attendance wiped away tears, deeply touched by the young girl's heartfelt words. The Hope for Heroes initiative continued to grow, expanding its reach beyond veteran families to support other disadvantaged communities. Across the nation, states began adopting practical aid programs inspired by the movement. A television commentator noted that, for the first time in years, true unity was unfolding before our eyes. Hope for Heroes is more than just an initiative. It is a revival of compassion and social responsibility. The movement didn't just transform Lily and her mother's lives. It restored hope for thousands of families across America. Yet Trump recognized that the work was far from finished. His determination only strengthened, committed to ensuring that no one would be left behind. Months later, the Hope for Heroes initiative had sparked a nationwide transformation. Thousands of veteran families received crucial assistance, from housing and healthcare to job opportunities that provided a fresh start. Stories of resilience and renewal filled news outlets, touching hearts and inspiring countless people across the country. On a bright and clear morning, Trump led the dedication ceremony for a new national memorial at the National Mall, honoring the sacrifices of fallen veterans and their families. The moment was more than a tribute. It was a pledge to remember those who had given everything and to support those they left behind. The memorial's design carried profound symbolism. A bronze statue of a soldier kneeling while holding his young daughter's hand, embodying both sacrifice and the unbreakable bond of family. Engraved at the base of the statue were the words, "They gave everything, and now we must ensure they are never forgotten." Lily and her mother were invited to stand beside Trump as the statue was unveiled. A wave of applause erupted, mixing with quiet tears from the crowd as they took in the powerful sight. Stepping to the podium, Trump's voice was firm yet laced with emotion. "Today, we are not just unveiling a statue. We are etching a promise into the heart of this nation, that those who sacrifice for our country will always be honored, and their families will have a future worthy of their loss. Lily has taught me something invaluable, that courage knows no age, and that even in the darkest moments, hope can shine through. This is just the beginning. We will continue to stand beside every veteran family and every hero who has given so much for this country." The applause swelled, turning into a standing ovation as Trump stepped away from the podium. He looked toward Lily, offering her a warm gesture of encouragement. The young girl took a deep breath, stepping forward in a simple white dress, her eyes filled with both determination and quiet uncertainty. Her voice trembled with emotion, yet her words carried strength as they rang out over the crowd. "I'm just a little girl. All I wanted was to save my mom, but thanks to Mr. Trump and everyone here, I've learned that even the smallest gestures can make a difference in the world. Thank you for not only helping my mom and me, but also for supporting other families like ours." The entire square erupted in applause, a wave of clapping and cheering spreading through the crowd. Many wiped away tears, deeply touched by the sincerity of her words. The memorial became more than just a structure. It stood as a lasting emblem of the Hope for Heroes movement. Inspired by its message, states across the country began launching support programs modeled after the initiative, bringing hope to those who had long been overlooked. Trump remained personally involved in managing the fund, attending events to inspire and encourage the community to take part. A journalist captured the impact in one powerful statement. "This isn't just a story of one man's kindness. It's about how a little girl, armed with nothing more than a simple cardboard sign, managed to change an entire nation." Though this story is fictional, its message is real. All over the world, millions of people like Lily are still waiting for someone to reach out and help. Even the smallest efforts can make a difference. Donate, volunteer, or simply share this story to spread hope. The video closes with a heartfelt appeal. If this story moved you, please share it with your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to help us continue spreading stories of kindness and humanity. Every share ignites a spark of hope, and every action brings us one step closer to change. Thank you for being part of this journey. The story ends with a powerful and clear message. Acts of unity and compassion, no matter how small, have the power to create miracles.